Well, I'm joined now by the Labour MP and barrister Karl Turner and the Daily Telegraph columnist James Delingpole. Karl Turner, Jeremy Clarkson's whole raison d'etre is to shock. Surely you just take it with a pinch of salt, don't you?
Well, I don't care what Jeremy Clarkson says about public sector workers taking industrial action. But what we all know he's a Tory and a friend of the Prime Minister, but what I do care about is the children that were watching that show before the watershed was probably going to bed with images of the parents that might have been taking action that day being executed. He ought to have known better than that. He gets paid a lot of money. He should be more responsible for his words. He shouldn't be apologising to the public sector workers. He should be apologising to the children.
James Delingpole, children would be offended.
Yeah, I'm very glad that both the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition have taken time out of their busy schedules to condemn this appalling hate speech from Jeremy Clarkson. No, I'm amazed at the coverage that is being given to this complete non-story. It is Jeremy Clarkson.
Perpetuating that.
Jeremy Clarkson gets invited onto the BBC to be Jeremy Clarkson. Jeremy Clarkson behaves like Jeremy Clarkson and then causes this massive furore. I don't know what's going on.
Karl Turner, Ed Miliband was jumping on a bandwagon, wasn't he?
Well, I don't think he was. You know, James says that the Prime Minister's spending his time and so on. He's got better things to do. I'm sure he has. We've got major problems in the economy and so on. But what the Prime Minister should have done is condemned this behaviour. It's not big and clever to glamorise the offence of murder. This is somebody talking about shooting people. It's very serious. He ought to apologise to the children and the Prime Minister should condemn it in the same way as Ed Miliband has done. It was disgusting and it was disgraceful.
It was a joke also, though,
well,
wasn't it?
It may well have been a joke. I don't know what his intention was, quite frankly, and I don't care. But I do care about the children that would have been going to bed, asking their parents what execution means and having to have that conversation with the children. Well, it's quite wrong.
James,
I know it's Karl's job to say this, and he's done it very well. But the fact is, I think Karl knows in his heart that when Jeremy Clarkson was talking about having these people taken out and shot, he didn't really mean it. Jeremy Clarkson has no record of sending out death squads to kill union workers. It just doesn't happen. Everyone in the country knows what Jeremy Clarkson's like. They take it as a joke. It's only it's been escalated by certain sections of the media into a scandal.
But he is paid a lot to drive very fast cars. Unison has a point, doesn't it, that its members wipe people's bottoms, their noses, often for a pittance.
Unison has no point whatsoever. Everyone knows what Jeremy Clarkson stands for. He is a comedy character. He exaggerates for effect. He was making a point that I think a lot of people watching that show would have agreed with, that these workers were going on strike to protect rights that people in the private sector do not have and have not had for a long time. There was a lot of anger about that.
Karl Turner?
Well, look, you know, I think it was the wrong thing to say. I think he should have been more responsible. He's paid for by members of the public. He works for the BBC. I mean, it should have been something he addressed immediately, and the Prime Minister should have condemned his words.
But the idea of a police investigation or legal action, I mean, that's really for the birds, isn't it?
Well, I think that's very unlikely, actually. The context that it was said in, I doubt very much whether you could ever get a criminal conviction home in this scenario.
So except he wasn't inciting violence, was he?
I don't know whether he was or not. I don't know what his intention is. I've no idea. I heard what he said. I've looked at it. I think it was very irresponsible of him, and I think the Prime Minister should have condemned him. You know, he shouldn't be glamorising murder. The offence of a gun crime is going up in the capital city. I think it's gone up in the last 12 months by 5%. It's a serious issue, and he shouldn't be saying that's big and clever.
James Delingpole, have we lost our sense of humour?
Yes, I think we have. But the fact that we're even countenancing the possibility that Jeremy Clarkson might be prosecuted for flippant remarks shows the very worrying direction that this country is heading. We are clamping down on freedom of speech, and we should all be concerned about this.
But when John McDonnell talked about assassinating Margaret Thatcher, Tories like you didn't take that one so lightly.
He's a politician, not an entertainer. I think context is all. You know, I mean, when Muslim hate preachers talk about slashing people's throats, there was a record of certain people actually doing that. Jeremy Clarkson fans have never killed anybody because of flippant remarks he's made on TV. Fact.
Karl Turner, do you find Life of Brian funny? A lot of people find that offensive.
Well, I do, but I'd be watching it after 7 o'clock, I'd be watching it after 9 o'clock, and I wouldn't be watching it with young children. And young children would have been going to bed thinking about the parents being executed, potentially. It's serious, and it shouldn't be glamorised by politicians as well. The Prime Minister should have come out and said, I absolutely condemn this behaviour. It's quite wrong.
Karl Turner, James Delingpole, thank you very much for coming in. John?